Hello for sopranos. We're going to be looking at our music for the Magnificat. The first thing you're going to need is a pencil.
Done.
Because we're going to write in our numbers so that as we're singing along, we can sing with the numbers. Remember in choir, we talked about the bouncing ball, and we talked about singing with rhythms, and we were stomping in place and everything else. We're going to be doing that again, only on our own, so we're going to have to provide our own, we're going to have to make our own metronome. Okay, so we see here at the top the Magnificat. We're all singing this together, so just say it with me for now. Magnificat anima mea dominum. Okay? Then, you'll see here, we're just focusing on the notes today. You don't even have to worry about the rest of these words right now. This is our numbers lesson. So this note is a whole note, and it's going to take up 4 beats. Remember in music, you don't just count like you've learned in school. You count 1 and 2 and so on. So this one whole measure right here, this takes up 4 beats. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I'm using a plus sign in place of my and you'll see why, because when you have to write in more numbers here, it's going to be really hard to write out the word and. So use your little plus sign in place of your and. Here we have a half note. This is worth 2 beats. So that's 1 and 2 and. Then we have these black filled in notes. These are quarter notes. They're worth 1 beat. So we're going to say 1 and 1 and then here we have quarter notes. In rehearsal, I told you to count that as 2 beats, but after singing through this with all the parts, I realized we need to keep those separate. So you're going to write this 1 and 1 and then here's, remember we were talking about eyeballs? Here's my eyeball, that's a fermata. So you're going to write that out 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay, because we're going to give that 4 beats. Down here on the second line, again, look, it's the same as the first measure, isn't it? So this measure has a whole note. So how many beats does that get? You guessed it, 4 beats. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we've got half notes here, same as the top. So that gets half of 4 is 2. 1 and 2 and up. There's our lovely little quarters. See our little black filled in notes? That's 1 beat. 1 and 1 and. Here's another half note and another half note. Please, sopranos, keep those separated. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and there's our whole note again. There it is. So we're going to write that in 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, Mrs. Johnson is going to give herself the notes on the piano, and then we're going to come back and look at this paper, and then I'm going to sing through this with you, okay? You've gotten your numbers written in at the top of your paper. We can start speaking through this. You need to be very comfortable speaking through it before you begin singing through it. This is true of anything you'll ever sing in life. You want to make sure all of your rhythms are correct before you start singing through it. So we're going to start just talking through it. I'm going to give myself a little beat here. So it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm going to go down here to my bottom line, and we're going to say 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's try that again. Ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, let's try that one more time and then we'll add the singing. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're ready to add some beautiful singing. Remember, keep it nice and light. No reason to scream sing through this. Okay? And take it pretty slow. If you need to go a little slower, that's okay. This is rehearsal. You should always start slow on a piece you don't know and then speed the tempo up as you learn it. That's a good way to do it. Like babies shouldn't start out running. They have to start out slowly, crawling, then walking, then running. Same thing with tempos and music. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's that line. Let's try that one more time. We're going to sing through it. Ready? And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, I want you at our rehearsal to tell Mrs. Johnson, First Sopranos, where she messed up on your recording. That's your homework for the week. You need to tell me on Friday where I messed up in that line, because I know I messed up. You guys, as you're studying and reading along with your numbers, you're going to find out where Mrs. Johnson messed up. So there's your homework.